Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about Austria. Now Austria's problem in base game Hoi 4, other than the fact that their city is one tile, which we've already changed, by the way we're in vanilla right now, if you couldn't tell, is the state borders are quite bad. It looks like they tried with the Soviet occupation zone. Like this is actually semi-accurate, or at least this little bit is. But the rest of this is just diabolical. This is all Tyrol. This is this doesn't even have these tiles. It's really weird. Let me just set this up real quick and show you what I mean. So if you were to split Austria into kind of its historical occupation zones, or where they should be, based on where they were in real life, here I'll show a map of that like right now, if I remember. You end up with something like this, and as you can see, again, this is semi-accurate. This is kind of too high up here, and it kind of just gets messed up here in general. But the vision is here, or at least for this. I'm not sure if it just is a coincidence or if they meant to split this up on the occupation lines or what. But in this case, no. The UK is supposed to own all of this, and this is supposed to be quite a different shape. But as you can see, all they own is this, and France ends up with, for some reason, Tyrol is a huge state. I mean, I know the reason for it, but if you're trying to show the internal divisions of Austria, I think the only real purpose of that would be to show their occupation borders after World War II. And this gives France way too much. We don't want that. This is supposed to go to UK. This in part is supposed to go to the USA. But yeah, the USA is the worst one here. They own just this little circle, when in real life you can see they owned territory up to here, like a little punch into the UK's territory, and they owned near the south of Salzburg. They owned a lot of territory all the way up to kind of where this border is with Italy, which is really interesting. I don't know why they came up with this, but that's how it is. And today I fixed it, because today I'm starting work on occupation borders. And also I'm going to want your opinion on what I should do in terms of actually displaying the occupation zones, because that is another important question. But with that, let's switch over to the mod, and I can show you what I have done to Austria. Alrighty, here we are in my mod, of course. Of course, you can tell because we have the microstates here. We have a whole bunch of new provinces over here, and the states over here are much better. And of course, you can see Danzig and all that. That's what you can kind of tell off the bat. Another thing you might be able to tell off the bat is that there's small states for cities here, like Berlin, and you can see now the same is true for Austria. Now these provinces were in the game before. I had made them before, but I just hadn't made them in the states yet, because state modding takes a bit of effort, especially, well, not really, but for fixing bugs, yes. And I wanted to save that for an update where I made a lot of states so I could do it all at once, and that is going to be this update. There's going to be a lot of new states in this update. So as you can see, I've split it. I've decided to keep the Soviet zone owning the parts of Vienna that were under their control, and that's just so that I don't have too many states, just too many different building slots and stuff like that. And I have split the Allied zone into West Vienna. Here we go, and this is where the majority of the population of the city is. I believe the Soviet zone, which is these two, had only like 500,000, something like that, and this has 1.10 million. And then I also made the central one into a separate state. You might be wondering why that is. That's because in real life the central zone was actually swapped between all four powers. So in theory I could have maybe an event every month or something that says, hey, you're getting this. It's swapping hands. It would be a hidden event, so it doesn't annoy you, because otherwise it would pop up every month, so I can make it invisible. But maybe that would be cool. I don't know. And then the Soviet zone required some work here, just trying to flatten this out. But this was relatively okay. Now, Burgenland I haven't really touched yet. It seems to do pretty well for the purpose of the occupation border. Now, the border of Hungary maybe you could argue about, but I'm leaving it for now. Now, for England, I think England got the second to best facelift here. You can see this is just one state, and it's their occupation zone. We have now much deeper into here. Provinces have changed over here. You can see there's this like hole in the middle, and then it comes out here, and then it goes right up to the Soviet zone, which is accurate. And this is here because of the US zone. The US zone is very odd. There you go. There it is. Now remember, in base game it was like just a little circle here, but now it actually has the territory that it had. It goes kind of deep into Tyrol. It kind of goes deep into this state, and it touches right up against the Soviet zone like that. Looks very well, and then that leaves Tyrol looking like this. So let me split it into the actual countries, and you can kind of see how it looks compared to the actual map. So as you can see, this is what we're left with. And again, I'll put the real one on the screen on the right here. You can see it looks a lot more accurate than the vanilla one. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm sure people can nitpick this. But I think it looks a lot better than what they were trying to do in vanilla, if they were trying to do anything at all. And you can see we have the United States here, we have France here, we have the UK here, and we have the Soviets here. And then for Vienna, this is where I'm at, kind of a crossroads. I'm going to need your help. And I'll probably post a poll once this video's out as well, so you can vote on it. But what should be done here? I split it into, I had this is the French, the English, the United States, their zone, and this as well. This is their zone, and I made it just one province because I didn't want this city to be too tight and too small, too hard to fight in. And I just decided right now for this showcase just to give it to the US because the US had the most presence there. But how do you feel about that? Does it look weird having all of this be on the boundaries, on the actual boundary lines, but then this be owned all by the US? Is that odd? And if it is odd, what do I do to fix it? Do I split this up into 3 small provinces here? Or 2 small provinces here, or something? Or do I do something with the whole country where I do it like this? Where I, kind of like how they do in Cold War Iron Curtain with Germany. You just would have a West Austria and then an East Austria. I'm fine with that, but it does kind of negate some of the work I've done, because these borders are hidden now. But what do you think of that as an option, or are you like do you not really care about something so small like this, and agree that the U.S. It's fine to show the U.S. there? They did own a lot of troops there. It's fair enough, and it's so small it isn't really an issue. I can see why people would think both sides of that. So just let me know what you think. But yeah, that's Vienna, and then for Central Vienna, like I said, it would switch between them. So I guess it would switch between the U.S. and the Soviets, and if I guess somehow split this, it would switch between all 4. So it would switch then Soviets, and then U.S., and then the U.K., and then France. But again, if that does happen, that will be an automated event. It won't be one that you have to click on. It will just happen under your nose. So anyway, that's about it for Austria. I hope you like these borders. I think they are definitely an improvement over base game. I don't know if they're perfect yet. I'm sure I'll see if you have a disagreement with me on that. I'm sure you'll comment it. But it definitely is a big improvement. These demilitarized or impassable zones are still there. They're still fine. And next up is going to be Germany. And I also will leave a poll on Germany soon to see how you guys feel about those occupation zones. Should it be like Austria, or should it be just one West German puppet and then one East German puppet? Even though technically they didn't exist yet, I could, you could just call them West German occupation zone and East German occupation zone, and then instead of the zones uniting into West Germany, it would just be the West Germany changing its name to the Federal Republic of Germany. So maybe that's an option. But again, I'll leave that up to you. Please let me know. That is about it for this video. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for my members. If you want, you can become a member down below. I believe it's down below. You can click it, and it's cool. You get different perks. You get certain things, and I get to mention you like this, which is always fun. And yeah, that is about it. See ya.